So the sixth team that I'll be reviewing from the 2026 season of the IPL is the Punjab Kings. And Punjab, I think, is a very interesting topic to talk about. I think it was as if there were two different teams that were playing, one in the first half and second in another half. Because pehle सात matches में they were unbeaten, 6 wins and one no result. And in the last 7 games, they lost 6 on the trot, and then the last game they won. So I think itna matlab there was such a big difference between their first half of the tournament and the second half of the tournament that it is very difficult to understand what exactly went wrong. I think there are a few things that I can talk about which I think were clear that what exactly they could have done differently. But I think overall it was very, very disappointing the way their second half of the campaign when they were considered, favorites to the trophy the way they were playing because they were basically not losing a game. And even the game that was a no result against KKR, it was clear that they were probably the favorites to win because KKR was not winning at that point. KKR also kind of had exact opposite of this kind of a season where they were not winning in the first half, but then they took off and they won a few games, quite a few games toward the end. But that I think probably at the end, if you look at it, if that no result goes in their favor, they qualify. I think if that game would have happened and they would have won it, they already had a net run rate better than Rajasthan, who finished fourth, and that 1 point would have been theirs, and they would have probably qualified in fourth. And that's all ifs and buts. But I think I mean to really assess, I think यहाँ तक आना ही नहीं चाहिए था because मतलब कि ये नो रिजल्ट की वजह से हम शायद से क्वालिफाई कर जाते और वो अनफॉर्चुनेट था बट यू कांट लूज 6 games on the trot and really expect to qualify. I think, like I said, last season they were, runners up and they had an incredible season after, going to the final for the first time in 12 years, 11 years. And I think this season it was there were a lot of expectations. And I think that one thing, like I said, in their, after their campaign got over, I think nobody expected them to do as well as they did last year. I think उनका जो campaign था वो एक completely, it was a lot of players over performing than what was expected from them. प्रियांचार्य का ऐसा सीजन रहेगा लास्ट ईयर से किसी को नहीं लगा था. जॉश इंग्लिश ने जो नंबर 3 पे इम्पैक्ट दिया था दैट केम आउट ऑफ नोवेयर. तो आई थिंक एवरीथिंग लाइक दी स्मॉल स्मॉल थिंग्स, नेहल वडेरा हैड गुड सीजन, शशांक हैड गुड सीजन. तो आई थिंक ये जो चीज़ें थी, ये प्लेयर्स के साथ जो उनका बैटिंग अच्छी हुई थी या फिर बॉलिंग में ऑल्सो मार्को एंसन हैड अ वेरी गुड सीजन. दैट आई थिंक दिस ईयर a lot of people like Priyansharya who especially had a second season syndrome which was bound to happen. I think he still scored at that great strike rate, but I think जो runs last season उसने 400 के ऊपर बनाए थे, that severely got impacted this year. And I think overall it just felt like they took off a little too early. I think हमेशा ये बोला जाता है कि आप बहुत अच्छा start अगर करते हो, तो it is important to lose a few matches at that point as well. Not because it is like, I mean, obviously you want to win every game that you go in to play, you want to win that game. But if you win too much too early, I think law of averages bolo या whatever your weaknesses get exposed through the way you're playing particularly and whatever you're doing correctly, and it kind of hampers the second half. I think it is important to peak at the right moment, and I think they peaked a little too early in the campaign. And there's another reason I think जो उन्होंने अपना होम ग्राउंड वेन्यू चेंज किया. आई थिंक दे वर प्लेइंग इन मुल्लनपुर इन न्यू चंडीगढ़ एंड वहाँ से एकदम से धर्मशाला में दे प्लेड द रेस्ट ऑफ देयर होम गेम्स. एंड दैट इज कम्प्लीटली समथिंग दैट आई डोंट फील इट इज एक्सेप्टेबल. आई थिंक आप एक होम वेन्यू जो पिक करते हो, दैट इज समथिंग दैट शुड बी in your team's advantage. As a management, your role and responsibility is not just promoting the game and gaining fans, even though it is a business for you. If you want to win the tournament, you have to look at these aspects कि how the players will do with these kind of changes that you make. क्योंकि अगर टीम एक वेन्यू के लिए रेडी हो रही है तो 7 मैचेस वहां पे खेलने उनको, तो इफ दे आर वेरी वेरी गुड एट दैट वेन्यू, इट इज इंपॉर्टेंट दैट यू गिव देम दो 7 मैचेस. बिकॉज उस 7 में से अगर वो 6 या फिर 5 भी अगर जीतते हैं, तो इट गिव्स देम अ लॉट ऑफ added plus going into the away games, because away games you're playing in a someone else's venue which they are also known to. And if you're competing against teams who are playing all 7 of their home games in their one venue, and you are yourself changing your venue, you're creating a disadvantage for yourself. The same thing RCB did, because theirs was a completely different situation, I'll talk about later. They did that, Rajasthan did that, and I don't understand these things. I think that I think impacted a lot, because when they went there they could not win a game. It was completely it's a different kind of a venue completely than they went to play in Dharamshala. जो जिस तरीके से बॉल बैट पे आता है, that extra bounce that you get in Mullanpur, that was not there. And I think it severely impacted when they were playing in Dharamshala. I think that so I watched people's exact analysis of the pitch and what all was there, and it was completely different. The bounce of the ball was, there was such a big difference that a batter struggled. And I'll talk about who did well for them. I think Prabhsimran Singh, I think, was their star performer. I think throughout the campaign consistently was getting runs, like he did last season as well. Another 500 run season for him. I think he was incredible. Shreyas Iyer was incredible. I think he had, I think when they were winning, he was doing really well. Then he kind of had a dip when they started to lose. But I think in the end he got 100 and they got those 2 points at the end. And Cooper Connolly also, he came in as a replacement for Josh Inglis in the 11, and I think he also did pretty well. So these were the ones who I think, and Priyansh also had his moments, you can say. So I think these were the players who kind of did well. Suryansh Shedge as well. I forgot to mention. He also, I think, he was picked later in the tournament, and he, I think, did well. Then there was Stoinis who had, I think, his moments. There was Arshdeep who had his moments. Jansen had a bad season. I think that was one of the other reasons that they, did really poor. I think Azmatullah Omarzai as well, I think, came into the campaign too late for them. And they were stuck with playing, players like Bartlett, Lockie Ferguson, yeah, Ben Dwarshes, and these people are not really doing well. I think Indian fast bowling, maybe Arshdeep ke alawa, Vishak had again his few moments, but he's not like, they needed something better than that. I don't know why Harpreet Brad didn't play so those extra matches, why he just played a couple of games, I don't know. But I because of the conditions and whatever you want to call it, but I think he did well whenever he played in those limited games. So I think like I said, these things happened, and I'll come with, I'll start with one player. The first player that I'll start with will be Prabhsimran Singh. I think Prabhsimran 510 runs at an average of 42, at a strike rate of 169. So I think he was incredible. I think he proved why he is rated that highly. I think he's come quite a few years back. I think 3, 4 years back he's been now in the IPL, and I think his performances every season have, I think, get gotten elevated every year, and I think he's proving that why he is considered someone who could actually play for India as well, and I think why he's getting picked for India A and all of that, you can clearly see the kind of performances that he puts. I think he's not just someone who goes hard in the power play. He has got the second game as well. He's not just a big hitter, a slogger kind of a player that plays in the power play and that's all that he can do. He's something much more than that. He has the second gear that which he can change the tempo of the inning. He can play longer innings as well. So I think Prabhsimran Singh is definitely a very big positive for them. So those getting a 500 run season for with your opener is a very important thing, and I think he did that. I think strike rate was incredible. 169 strike rate se 500 run rehne wala player. I think it's we talked about KL Rahul in the last video. 174 I think his strike rate was, and he gave them 590 something. So Prabhsimran doing that for someone who's not played for India, and uh, even though he's been around in the IPL, I think he did really well with the expectations this time. I think last year tak पंजाब की इतना कोई बात नहीं करता था क्योंकि पंजाब was not that good a team. I think since Shreyas Iyer came and they started to win last year, I think everybody started to look at their players more seriously, and I think Prabh Simran has done really well last season as well, and now again this year we saw a newer version of him where he was, I think, playing more responsibly. And I think Prabh Simran was very good. I think very consistent, and he was incredible. Which will bring me to his opening partner, and I think that is Priyansh Charya's second season syndrome. And I think second season syndrome is basically when someone comes into the scene playing the IPL or in general any sport. If you come and you have a good season, a lot of expectations are set all of a sudden that this player is this good because you have your first season and you come with a great performance. And with those performances which were kind of with a lesser amount of pressure because nobody was really expecting anything from you at that point because nobody knew you, when you come to play the second season, a lot of people are looking at you with the expectations that you yourself set from the previous season. And I think that pressure is what takes a toll on a lot of players, and that has happened to a lot of players. And I think Priyansh Arya was also someone who, to an extent, I think had that expectations being a little too high for him. And I think toward the start of the tournament, I think he was still doing fine. I think in that game against CSK, he got a 11 ball 39, and he got man of the match for just playing 11 balls. And it rarely happens that an opener plays just 11 balls in his inning and ends up winning the man of the match. So I think he was. I think you could see that he has that ability in the power play to really take the game away. And I think LSG against that 93 came. So I think during the start of the tournament he was pretty fine. I think as they started to lose, I think one of the bigger reasons why they started to lose was also a dip in form of these key players, and I think Priyancharya was one of them. I think he started to struggle, and then every game it was becoming a thing that he last game he got out like this, and then the next game he's coming and he's making similar mistakes. He's trying to I think he is someone who has a really good timing of the ball, and he plays good shots, and he's got power and everything. Timing is incredible. The problem is that he does not have, like I said about Prabh Simran Singh, the ability to change his gears while batting, and he is someone who will try to target the bowler no matter what, which at times works well but at times doesn't. And I think when that starts to happen, the pressure comes, and I think that led to him not really being consistent. I think just 364 runs compared to last season, it was a big dip. uh, strike rate was incredible. I think 211. I will, like I said, when I said second season syndrome, it was a little too judgmental maybe because he still ended up with a good strike rate. But I think जो runs का जो standard set किया था वो उतना नहीं हुआ, और I think key matches जो वो हार रहे थे तब he did not really take responsibility, because now he is someone who's played last year. He's gone into a final of the IPL, so I think there was more expectation set, and I think that did not happen. I think it's incredible strike rate. He was batting that particular way. Maybe he was backed and told to do that. I mean, surely he was told to play that particular way. But I think the problem was that with that kind of strike rate, consistency is really hard to get, which he did show last year. But I think to do it again, it became a problem. Overall, not bad, but I think they would have wanted him to step up in one more two games where he was really struggling, and when they also needed him to probably take a step up, and maybe one of those innings could have changed their chances in the playoffs. So I think you can't really say that for one player, but I think that is definitely what I think they would feel. Which will bring me to Cooper Connolly. I think last year Josh Inglis was playing that role of batting at number three for them. I think everybody thought Shreyas Iyer would bat at three, and he was doing that too at the start of the tournament. But I think as the tournament progressed, they realized कि एक ऐसा player हमको चाहिए जो नंबर तीन पे आके, if he's batting in the power play or whatever at that point of time when he's coming out to bat, his responsibility is to just take on the bowlers and give the middle order some kind of an extra boost, because जब middle overs आते हैं against spin, it becomes a little harder to hit, and the run rate more often than not, because power play restrictions are all gone, it dips. तो आई थिंक रन रेट डिप होने के बाद वो जो एक थोड़ा सा प्रेशर सिचुएशन बन जाती है बैटर्स के लिए, तो इट इज इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर समवन टू टेक दैट प्रेशर अवे, बाय गिविंग देम एन एक्स्ट्रा बूस्ट इन द पावर प्ले, or a few overs after that. And I think that was the role that Josh Inglis was doing. He was not really trying to play bigger innings, he was just trying to play you know quick fire innings, and I think that was really working. And I think Cooper Connolly replaced him with a very incredible season. I think 491 runs at a average of 45 and a strike rate of 163. He ended up getting 100 as well, a couple of 50. So I think he was really good. I think the role that इंग्लिश was playing was not really played by Connolly. I think जॉश इंग्लिश का रोल जो था वो टीम में, वो जो मैंने जैसे बोला वैसे Connolly was not batting. Connolly was really someone who was trying to take his time and play a bigger inning, which is something you see from a conventional number three. But I think जो वो expect कर रहे थे from someone like Josh Inglis was doing last year, वो Connolly was not really doing. But I think he had an incredible season. I think he'll be very happy with that. First season खेल रहा है, almost getting 500 runs. He was really backed. I think they did a good job with that. And I think a lot of people were saying, Mitchell Owen ko shayad se there is a debate with who to pick, and I think they were clear who they wanted to go with. That first game itself, he came and helped them out. I think GTK against, when they lost a few wickets and it started to look like they were going to lose the game, I think he came in, got that 72, and I think he really helped them win that game. And from that, I think he had another game where he got 87 in that Lucknow game where they bashed everybody, and then that SRH game where he got 100. So I think he was really good. I think very consistent throughout the campaign. I think he had again a few bad games, but I think 491 runs for someone playing his first season, I think they'll be very happy with that performance, and he'll definitely be an important key part of that future as well for Punjab. And that will bring me to the captain. I think श्रेयस अय्यर पे भी बहुत expectations set हो गए थे अभी. I think श्रेयस अय्यर is someone who is, I think, regarded as one of the good upcoming Indian captains. I think India की captaincy भी अभी उसको मिल गई है T20 में, after they have dropped Surya, and I think that has been a big boost to his career. I think he's definitely earned that really well. I think he's performed uh, through the all the ranks. I think he's done really well. That controversial part where he was dropped because he refused to play some domestic game, test ki team se hata diya gaya, and I think he's now made it clear that he does not want to play test cricket. He wants to focus on ODI and T20. ODI mein he has become a mainstay. He's that number 4 for India, and T20 may also now, because he's become the captain, he has sealed his spot. And I think he did a lot of work for that. I think Punjab के लिए जब खेला last year, he I think was incredible last year. He had an amazing season, helped Punjab go to the finals of the tournament. Unfortunately, they could not win. He himself could not contribute in the final. But I think that was a big change in Punjab. I think Punjab नहीं अच्छी team थी. वहाँ से Punjab became that big team, and I think his captaincy has a big role in that. I think they did really well with Ponting coming in as coach and Shreyas Iyer as the captain. I think they both had worked together in Delhi previously and had qualified with Delhi as well, with a Delhi team that in the previous years had not qualified. I think Delhi was also struggling with making the playoffs, and I think with when Iyer became captain, Ponting was the head coach. They managed to qualify. I think 2018, 19 both, and in 2020 when they went to the finals. So I think that kind of a process that was there. I think with Shreyas Iyer as captain, I think they did really well, and you would see that he was a good captain. And I think that then he got injured after that. He got released and he went to KKR. KKR because he got injured and they made Pant the captain. Then he was released. Obviously, he went to KKR. He had one season, I think 2022. I think that was they couldn't qualify, and then I think he was again injured. and 2024 में he was there and he was the captain and they ended up winning the campaign. एंड ट्रॉफी जीतने के बाद भी उसको इतना रिस्पेक्ट नहीं मिला जो मिलना चाहिए था. बहुत लोगों ने क्रेडिट सब गौतम गंभीर के नाम पे दिया because he did not bat that much, because I obviously, like I told you, Sunil Narayan or Phil Salt were opening. There was Venkatesh Iyer, Ankush Raghuvanshi, so इतनी बैटिंग अय्यर की नहीं हो रही थी. But he was the captain who won them the trophy, and I think he was not really given that much respect. He wanted at the mega auction a big price, and they did not retain him, which was, I think, a big blunder from them. And Punjab was the team that got him, and I think it's been an incredible signing for them. I think he's both the season that he's played, he's done really well as a batter. I think he's elevated his game way more than what we've seen in the past as a batter. Anything he's getting more consistently, big runs as well, 50s and 100 bola bhi season maybe 100 mari. Last season mein I think he got close to one, but I think he was incredible. I think 550s and 100 at strike rate of 169, 498, almost 500 runs, and with an average of 55. So I think Shreyas Iyer was, I think, incredible in that time when they sort of had a dip in form and they started to lose, is where he also struggled a little bit. But I think I mean, as a player, he did, I think, pretty well. I think as a captain, he would have wanted his players to do much more. I think bowling में जो उनकी strategy थी, that was not really working well. They were trying to bowl everything into the wicket, bouncers के लिए, and he said that also, that people were starting to question whether that is the right strategy. And someone asked him at the press conference whether they are doing the right job, and he said that the planning is correct. I think the execution is not what we are expecting them to do. And I think was visibly disappointed with the way they were bowling. I think बैटिंग में वैसे फिर भी रन कोई ना कोई मार रहा था, कुछ ना कुछ हो रहा था. Shura and Shetge toward the end started to score runs for them. There were innings from Stoinis, there was an inning from शशांक सिंह. So वो हो रहा था. I think किसी ना किसी के टॉप फोर से भी रन आ रहे थे, तो बैटिंग हो रही थी वैसे. बॉलिंग में ही they were losing games. And I think as a captain, he will obviously want to take responsibility of that. I think इतना अच्छा नहीं campaign रहा, toward the second half of the tournament, and I think they will definitely want to learn from this. I think they are a good team. They have good players who have played IPL final now, and I think that will give them a lot of confidence for next year. This year, जो performance था, in the second half, which is very very unacceptable. It was a very big bottle that obviously Iyer himself as captain will not be happy with. But I think as a batter he did incredibly well. Like I said, एक 550s or 800 as a batter in those 13 innings, he was incredible. I think uh, in that last game as well, when they won, he got 100. Finally they broke the streak of losing. He took responsibility and made sure that they won. He gave them that chance. I think उसके बाद Rajasthan won their game and qualified, but he, I think, gave them that chance, and I think they'll be very happy with what Shreyas Iyer has done for them in the last couple of seasons, and they'll be hoping to continue this into the next season. He's an incredible captain. I feel like it definitely was not a good uh, display of that in the second half, but I think they'll still back to see what they can see in the next season, and I think that is what I feel about him, which will bring me to, I think, Shashank Singh, which is a very curious case. I think Shashank Singh, you know batting all-rounder kind of a player who bats in the lower order. He came in 2024, I think it was, when he and Ashutosh Sharma really were playing in Punjab, and they all of a sudden got those opportunities, and they did really well, I think. And Shashank Singh say, well, it was they did not want to buy the Shashank Singh, but they ended up buying him, and he ended up giving them those results as well. So I think they backed him a lot, but I think this season was incredibly poor, is what I would say. फील्डिंग में तो बहुत ही खराब था. आई थिंक उसकी सबसे अच्छी ट्रेड इस सीजन में बॉलिंग थी. आई थिंक 4 मार उसने जब बॉलिंग की, उसमें एंडेड अप पिकिंग 4 विकेट्स एट एन इकोनॉमी ऑफ जस्ट 8.8. तो आई थिंक 22 का एवरेज और 15 के स्ट्राइक रेट के साथ बॉलिंग कर रहा था. तो इट वाज, आई थिंक, हिज बेस्ट contribution this season was with the ball, because as a fielder and as a batter he was, I think, terrible. I think batting में 12 मैचेस में he played 9 innings and just 132 runs at an average of 22. स्ट्राइक रेट भले ही 188 का था, बट ओवरऑल अगर आप उसके इनिंग देखते हो, 4 of 5, then there was one 14 of 6 which helped with that strike rate, 16 of 9, 17 of 6, 19 of 10, and toward the end then there's a 4 of 3 at Golden Duck, 2 of 3, and then against RCB he ended up getting a 50. So I think which kind of made him get higher than 100 runs. Otherwise he would have probably not even gotten that. So I think it was a season of struggle. I think a lot of that impacted with his fielding. I think जो पहले के मैंने जैसे मैचेस में बोला, he was batting at least a good strike rate. जो बैटिंग में भी डिप आया, वो आई थिंक बहुत प्रेशर की वजह से आया, बिकॉज इन दैट वन गेम वेयर he dropped, I think it was the Delhi game, or I don't remember exactly, I think LSG game it was, where he dropped, I think, 3 catches, and it was ridiculous, and it was happening back to back to back, and it was almost like a joke, and it was like, how is that actually happening? Is it like scripted? Because how is he dropping these many catches back to back? And uh, I think it gets into your head once you drop a catch, and you have a coach like Ponting who is even though he probably will not show it, or he will act normal with you, what Ricky Ponting as a player is, as a captain he was, or what kind of energy and vibes you are going to get from Ricky Ponting. And I think that does play a part in your mind, and I think maybe that really impacted him, and he was really under pressure. and his batting came, did not really arrive. I think that 50 toward the end will give him some confidence, but I think it was a season to forget for him. Fielding wise also he'll has to work on it, because bowling अगर इतनी अच्छी कर रहा है तो bowling मिल ही नहीं रही है, because वो field पे उनको in a few games they subbed him off, even though he has the ability to bowl, and I think he bowled more than Stoinis or something, but he still ended up not getting those chances toward the end, because even though he was doing well, they were really not willing to keep him on the field because he was not doing well in the field. So I think that really is something he has to work on. I think batting also, I think it'll happen 1 year break, whatever, and when he comes back next season, he'll probably get better. And they've found a really good player in Suryan Shetty, I think. So I think he has to really work on that. Which will bring me to Nehal Vadera. I think Nehal Vadera was, I think, terrible. I think मैंने पहले ही बोला था बहुत मेरे को I don't like the player. अब मुंबई में जब आया था तब थोड़े से एक दो कुछ तो इनिंग की वजह से लोगों ने हाइप किया, and पंजाब में he got a mainstay last season. He had a few moments where he got a few good innings. एक कहीं पे तो नंबर 4 पे बैटिंग करके 60 वाट कुछ तो मारा था, बट फाइनल में भी वॉच आई थिंक सिंगल हैंडेडली हिज बैटिंग वाज, आई थिंक इट वाज एब्सोल्युटली टेरिबल, एंड लॉस्ट दैट फाइनल लास्ट ईयर. एंड वहाँ से उसको वापस से बैक करके दे गॉट, एंड ही प्लेड 8 innings just 65 runs at an average of 10 with a strike rate of 114, absolutely abysmal. And I think it was a good thing that he got dropped and was replaced by someone like a Shedge who did really well. And I think I don't really rate him that much anyways, so I think it was a very bad season for him. No inning where he actually looked like he was doing something promising. Every inning he played was a game of struggle, and I think very disappointing campaign from Nehal Vadera, and I think he got dropped. I think first matches may he was getting a consistent run, but I think they had started to lose their patience on him. They probably kept backing him because they were still winning matches. As soon as they started losing, they had to sort of make some change, and he got dropped. Did not play the last 5 games, and yeah, ended up getting dropped. And from that, I'll come to Suryan Shetty. I think Shetty को जब उन्होंने लाया उसके बाद he did give them an incredible impact. I think he's known to be a bowling guy, batting all rounder, but bowling उसको मिली नहीं पूरा. As a batter he was used. I think he was just replaced. They replaced Vadera with him, and they just used him as a batter. I think they could have probably used his bowling a little bit, because I think bowling में struggle बहुत हुआ उनका, but they did not use him. But as a batter, I think he did really well. 7 matches he played, scored 158 runs at a strike rate of 176 with an average of I think almost 40. And I think he was really good. I think बहुत matches में he made a big impact with the bat. That 50 as well that he got against GT. There was that 35 against RCB, and all the other innings also very quick fire. So I think he did really well, and I think a lot of I think clearly they will want to back him. I think over Shashank and Vadera वही एक player है जो I think, and एक starting 11 में next year आपको दिखेगा शायद से, maybe Shashank as well. And I think it's pretty clear that he is good for that lower order role, and he's getting picked for India as well. So I think it's a good thing for him. I think he did really well. Very happy they will be with his performances. Which will bring me to Marcus Stoinis. I think Stoinis again, another experienced player, बहुत T20 खेला हुआ player है, and everything is there. I think he was fine. I think he had his moments. Like I said, he was mid. He had a few good games. He had a few bad games. He did not bowl much. He just picked up 2 wickets in 4 innings that he bowled. Economy was 12.5, so not anything good with the ball. Batting, I think he had a couple of good innings. I think that 62 against Rajasthan, they ended up losing that game, but I think he was the one who got them over 200 in the first inning. So I think he did do really well, and I think 2 3 more innings that he got some 30 40 runs, and I think 216 runs, average was 36, so I think very good. That came at a strike rate of 180, so I think he did really kind of stick to what exactly his role was, and as a lower order batter he did his responsibility I think pretty well. They will want to have something more from him, maybe because of the experience. Bowling इतनी करने को दी भी नहीं, और जब दी तब बहुत दी, और that did not really work because they one game they did not bowl Chahal and gave this guy 4 overs because they thought कि स्पिन में कुछ है नहीं इस पिच में, तो पेसर को ही देना चाहिए, और उसको 4 ओवर दिए और अचानक से 4 ओवर डाल के it was not a good day for him. So I think bowling they would have probably maybe used him a little more, maybe it could have gotten something out from him. But I think as a batter, I think he did pretty fine. I think he had, I think some games where he struggled, but I think overall for a finisher, you will see that happen, and I think he did pretty well. So I think that is for Stoinis, and that will bring me to I think एक विष्णु विनोद को भी उन्होंने खिलाया एक मैच में ही, एक चांस उसको मिला. 8 बॉल में 15 runs बनाए. He showed some promise, but I think obviously with the team pretty much being set, they did not really go to him. I think he was considered as a backup for Prabhsimran, एक extra wicket keeper, in that way. But I think against MI they had to bring an impact sub, and I think they ended up getting I think Vishnu Vinod for that game, and he scored 15 of 8 runs, 15 runs of 8 balls, and then did not play again. एक ही मैच उसको मिली. So that is him, and I think then I'll come to I think Marco Jansen. I think Marco Jansen was a very key player for them last season. He was he did really well for South Africa also at the World Cup. साउथ अफ्रीका के लिए कंसिस्टेंटली अच्छा प्लेयर रहा है बॉलिंग में भी और इवन एज अ बैटर एट नंबर 7। तो आई थिंक दे एक्सपेक्टेड अ लॉट फ्रॉम हिम। अगेन एक्सपेक्टेशंस बहुत ऊपर सेट करके रखे थे, as people were starting to say that he's the best foreign all-rounder and all of that was happening. And I think that was a big disappointment with his performances this season. It was absolutely bad. I think he did not bat much, just 50 runs he got in 5 innings that he played. Strike rate was bad in that 113. You usually see him hit big sixes at a great strike rate he bats, but this time that did not happen. And with the ball again, 12 innings he bowled in, just picked up 9 wickets at an economy of 10.2. I think he's someone who is known to be economical. पहले मैच में आई थिंक उसने अच्छी बॉलिंग की थी, मेरे को लगा 1 for 20 he was in that GT game, और मेरे को लगा कि this is why they are good, because they have bowlers like Jansen who really make sure that the opponent does not get chances. I think middle overs with the way he bowls, he make sure that the opponent does not get easy boundaries, singles doubles उतने ही वो concede करता है, and even picks up wickets. तो I think वो स्टार्ट में जो उसने एक पहले मैच में दिखाया वो पूरे टूर्नामेंट में मिसिंग था आई थिंक, एंड टुवर्ड द एंड तो ही वाज कंप्लीटली बैड। आई थिंक ही वाज getting targeted as well as the weak bowler and going for a lot of runs. So 10.2 की economy, just 9 wickets, nothing great. I think they will definitely would have expected more from him, but I think it was probably an off season. I think बहुत players की मैंने इसी बात की है कि जो वर्ल्ड क्लास रह चुके हैं, but I think they had a bad season, and I think that happens with the best players, and I think they'll hope that he bounces back, because he's, I think, a very, very important player for them, because he's again a rare commodity, a fast bowling all rounder who is not just someone who can bat, but I think is someone who can you can consider in as a part of your batting lineup as well. वो 7 या 8 पे बैटिंग जो कर सकता है वो, I think he's a very valuable asset, and I think they will expect him to come back stronger from this, and that is what I feel about him. I think वो एक डेफिनेटली एक बिग बड़ा मिस था उनके लिए कि यानसन की वजह से वो थोड़ा सा उनके प्लान्स में बहुत प्रॉब्लम्स हो गए। आरसीबी एक तो बहुत अच्छा नहीं कर रहा था, ही वाज डूइंग जस्ट फाइन, ओके, प्रीटी बिलो एवरेज। तो उसके साथ जो उसका पार्टनर इन द न्यू बॉल बोलो या फिर व्हाट लेफ्ट आर्म फास्ट बॉलर मार्को एंसन के इतने बैड परफॉर्मेंस की वजह से आई थिंक देयर वाज मोर प्रेशर ऑन द रेस्ट ऑफ द फास्ट बॉलर्स। विशाख हैड हिज फ्यू मोमेंट्स, बट आई थिंक अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट बार्टलेट बोलो, डवार्शियस बोलो या लॉकी फर्ग्यूसन बोलो, या जब यश ठाकुर को लिया तब जब भी वो सब जो बॉलर थे, whenever they were picked, I think they struggled. They had that pressure. I think, I don't know, but Jansen, I think if he would have done well, I think this team would have done, I think, better. And I think maybe those games where he really struggled is where he also really struggled hard. And I think जो की प्लेयर्स के मतलब यही बात हुई है उनके लिए, आई थिंक जो की प्लेयर्स थे उन्होंने सब ने आई थिंक एक ही टाइम पे पीक करके बहुत अच्छा स्टार्ट दिया, बट आई थिंक एक ही टाइम पे सब काइंड ऑफ फ्लॉप होके एक टाइम पे ही सब बर्बाद करके दे एंडेड अप गेटिंग नॉकड आउट। तो आई थिंक that is what I feel about Jansen, which will bring me to I think Azmatullah Omars. I think he was a very key player. मेरे को लग रहा था कि ये एक starting 11 का player है. With him, Stoinis, I felt like Connolly, Stoinis, Azmatullah, and Jansen should be their 3 picks, and 4 picks of foreign players. Because that allows them, to get someone like Azmatullah Omar जो 3-4 ओवर डाल भी सकता है और बैटिंग में भी इज प्रीटी वैल्यूएबल। तो आई थिंक एक अच्छा ऑलराउंडर जो एक नंबर 6-7 पे बैटिंग कर सकता है वो अजमतुल्ला उमर सही था। He can also come up the order and bat at 4 or 5 when needed, and he's done that in the past for Afghanistan, even for Punjab. I think he did last year. So I think वो एक बहुत बड़ा मिस था कि he was I think injured or not available, whatever it was. Toward the end of the tournament, they finally got him in the last 3 games he played, and he made an impact. I think मुंबई के पहले ही मैच में जब आया 2 for 36 with the ball and then 38 runs in 17 balls with the bat. So I think he showed what they clearly as an all-rounder were missing. And I think Azmatullah did well when he got that opportunity. So just 3 innings, ended up getting 52 runs at a strike rate of 153. Sorry, 193. So he was incredible with the bat, and I think bowling may also 3 games and 3 wickets. Economy was 9.3, pretty fine. And I think for an all-rounder, I think he did both his responsibilities pretty well. And they would have probably liked to have him for more games. I think toward from the start of the tournament as well. If he would have been there, that might have changed something for them. So I think that is what I feel about Azmatullah, which will bring me to Ben Dwarshuis, जिसको एक ही मैच मिला against Delhi. He played 1 for 51 in his 4 overs, and again I don't know why they had picked him. He's not that good a bowler. I think again BBL से आया हुआ player जो BBL मैच से किए हुए player बहुत बार, I've said this a lot of times. I think this is a very famous line by now, that performances in the Big Bash League do not directly translate to the performances in the IPL, and this is proven by many Australian players who've done really well in the Big Bash League. They've come in with that reputation in the IPL. They've gone for big money as well, lot of expectations, and when they've come, they've flopped. And that happens when you're playing in a league which is as at the level of Big Bash League, where there's pretty average players. I think अभी अगर आप bowling bowler की बात कर रहे हो तो अगर आपके सामने बाबर आजम और स्टीव स्मिथ ओपन कर रहे हैं, if Steve Smith and Babar Azam are opening in front of you, as a bowler you will have a better chance than if you're coming here and bowling against someone like a Vaibhav Suryavanshi bolo, Virat Kohli bolo, तो Sanju Samson bolo, Abhishek Sharma bolo, Jaiswal bolo, KL Rahul, whoever did well, Prabhsimran, everybody. तो एक लोग एक्सपोज हो जाते हैं यहाँ पे आने के बाद, एंड दैट इज व्हाट हैपेंस। आई थिंक बेन वाशिस जस्ट गॉट 1 game, nothing. I think I don't know why it was picked is what I was trying to say, and I think just 1 for 51 in that game, and yeah, that's all. which will bring me to Arshdeep. I think Arshdeep एक बहुत important player था इनका, and their the frontline fast bowler for their team. He bowled in all 14 games and just picked 14 wickets, which is fine. They would have expected more, but the economy was also not good. 10.2 की economy से bowling की, 14 wicket in 14 matches. I mean, it was very, I think, for someone who plays for India in T20 cricket, World Cup दो मैच खेल चुका है, दो बार World Cup जीत चुका है. For someone who's done all that with India, it is a very big expectation that it is a he need to do better than what he did. I think it was a very disappointing campaign. Again, he had his moments. I think like a lot of people, he had his 14 match की tournament में. Everybody has their moments, which happened with him as well. He had a few good games, but I think overall a very disappointing campaign. तो वो 14 मैचेस जो आए, वो 14 विकेट जो आए, वो एक दो मैचेस में ही उसने 3 मैच में ही पिकअप 2-2-2 एंड एक मैच में 9. तो 9 विकेट ओवरऑल 4 मैच में हो गए, और बाकी के यू नो 10 मैच में बस 5 विकेट थे. तो आई थिंक दैट इज व्हाट आई थिंक हैपेंड. कंसिस्टेंसी नहीं थी. एक आध दो मैच में एकदम से अच्छा कर देगा, 2-3 विकेट भी ले लेगा, बट बाकी मैचेस में he'll go wicketless, he'll go for an economy of 12, and I think it was not good. I think I don't know why he tries to bowl that wide Yorker. It is something that he does not execute correctly. We've seen this so many times now. Even for India at the World Cup, we saw him कि वो बहुत wide डालता है, and it he concedes like 4 or 5 wides in a single over. I think he did some record. I think he conceded like 5 or 6 wides in one over, and it's ridiculous how he just continues to do it. I mean, एक डाला, दो डाला, you can see that you're not able to execute it. You have to change your plans. He continues to do it and he bowls that, and I think that gives them a lot of extra runs, and वो पूरी ओवर ही खराब हो जाती है. क्योंकि अगर आप एक बॉल डाले बिना अगर 3-4 रन ऐसे ही वाइड से दे देते हो, तो द बैट्समैन इज ऑलरेडी हैविंग 3-4 रन. तो इवन इफ ही हैज लाइक अ 7-8 रन ओवर, ही इज ऑलरेडी गेटिंग 12 रन एन ओवर. तो एक दैट इज व्हाट आई थिंक इज समथिंग विच आई थिंक स्मॉल थिंग दैट डज नॉट रियली कम इन टू द पिक्चर. लोग बस उतना ही बोलेंगे, बट ओवरऑल आपके फिगर इतने खराब होते हैं क्योंकि आप ये सब करते हो. एंड बीच में से ही कोई तो बाउंसर जो कीपर ही पकड़ नहीं पाएगा और 5 रन दे देंगे, तो ऐसे आई थिंक यानसन ऑल्सो डज दैट, अर्शदीप ऑल्सो डिड दैट आई थिंक सम टाइम. तो आई थिंक दैट इज डेफिनेटली, आई थिंक कंसिस्टेंसी इशू वाज देयर. एंड एक्सपेरिमेंटेशन इतना क्यों है मेरे को समझ ही नहीं आता कि एज अ बॉलर, इफ यू नो T20 क्रिकेट में आपको आपके दो चीजें आर योर रूल्स. वन इज टू टेक विकेट्स एंड द अदर इज टू नॉट कंसीडर रन. इफ यू आर ट्राइंग टू पिक अप विकेट्स, यू हैव टू डू सम एक्सपेरिमेंटेशन, बिकॉज आप एक ही लाइन डाल के विकेट नहीं मिलते, क्योंकि बैट्समैन देन अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट यू आर बॉलिंग एंड दे विल प्ले अकॉर्डिंगली. विकेट लेने के लिए you have to sort of do some variations. You have to set him up. For that you might concede a few runs here and there, but that is the part of the plan. So if you are doing wicket taking bowling, and if it is coming off, it is a good thing. If it is not, your responsibility is to stop runs, because आप 4 ओवर डालते हो, उसमें से अगर आप ऐसे ही रन दे रहे हो, तो you are really not helping the team at all. And I think Arshdeep does not do that. I think if he's trying to pick up wickets, he will just try to do that, and he will end up bowling way all over the place. कहीं पे भी एक बॉल यहाँ पे है, फील्ड कहाँ पे लगाई हुई है, ऑफ साइड पे कोई है नहीं, he'll bowl some half volley outside the off stump for the batsman to just pick, easily give him a boundary. If there is no square leg kept outside the ring, he'll bowl a bouncer, he'll just pick it up, he'll go for 6 or one bounce 4. तो आई थिंक ये वो जो करता है कि जब वो एक्सपेरिमेंट करने जाता है और फील्ड अकॉर्डिंगली नहीं होती है, इफ यू पुट अ फील्ड which is trying to set up the batter and you're bowling that ball is one thing. If you're bowling not according to your field and bowling poor deliveries in that, you are definitely going to get beaten for runs. And I think bouncer इतना अच्छा है नहीं उसका for him to try that. And I think I don't understand why he does that. And I think it was again a very underwhelming season. I think Arshdeep जो एक इंडिया के लिए खेलता है उसके लेवल के लिए this was not a good season. I think we've seen what capacity he has had. पंजाब के लिए भी अच्छा किया हुआ है, इंडिया के लिए भी अच्छा किया है, तो I think that really was not there. I think again he had his moments, but not consistent. Which I'll talk about all the fast bowlers before coming to the spinners, and I think I'll talk about the foreigners first. I'll talk about Lockie Ferguson. I think उसको 3 matches मिले. He was injured. He's an injury-prone bowler. He's struggled with injuries a lot, and I think he came into the campaign pretty late. He played against Rajasthan, SRH, and RCB. 3 matches में just 1 wicket at an economy of 12.8, almost 13 की economy से. So I think he was also terrible. I think जो bowlers बहुत pace उनका है, and that is their strength, they don't really do well in the leagues like IPL, क्योंकि इतना competitive है ना. तो अगर आप बैट्समैन को इतना पेस दे रहे हो, तो they know how to make most of it and hit you. तो आई थिंक लॉकी फर्ग्यूसन, आई थिंक ही रियली स्ट्रगल्ड. आई थिंक वो उसके जो स्ट्रेंथ्स थे वो पूरे एक्सपोज थे, एंड ही कुड नॉट रियली बोल अकॉर्डिंग टू what he is known to bowl and what he can bowl. And I think he was I think very bad in just 3 games that he played. And I'll talk about Xavier Bartlett, जिसके साथ they started. They wanted to make him one of their starting players. पहले बहुत consistently got a game, a lot of games. I think they were winning that time, so it was fine. And I think in the start of the campaign he was doing pretty fine. I think एक ही मैच में 2 विकेट ले पाया, 9 मैचेस में बस 5 विकेट लिए. Economy was almost 11.6, and not a great campaign, obviously, but I think in a few games he was pretty economical. I think पहले match में none for 36, second game he went for runs, third game 2 for 9 in 1.4 that abandoned game, 1 for 42, none for 39. तो I think वहाँ तक ठीक था. फिर अचानक से जो एक डिप हो गया जो बहुत ही बड़ा था, देयर वाज नन फॉर 54, वन फॉर 69, देन अनदर प्रीटी गुड गेम एंड देन नन फॉर 53. तो आई थिंक ये बहुत मतलब विकेट तो नहीं आ रहे थे और ऊपर से रन भी बहुत दे रहा था. एंड आई थिंक अगेन अनदर बॉलर हु इज नोन टू ही हैज हिज हाइट, तो बिकॉज ऑफ दैट ही बॉल्स इनटू द विकेट एंड आई थिंक दैट दे ट्राइड विद हिम एंड इट डिड नॉट वर्क. आई थिंक वो चीज़ में मेरे नहीं समझ आता कि लोगों को क्यों लगता है कि एक टैक्टिक आप यूज़ करने से ही यू कैन विन. इज नॉट हाउ इट वर्क्स. आई थिंक एवरीबody इज टू वेल प्रिपेयर्ड. You cannot have one tactic. Everybody knows what you are good at, and they are going to come prepared to play against you. And if you just try to do that, you will get hit for runs. And I think that is what happened with Bartlett as well. He's again not a IPL level player to have that kind of an experience, and I think he'll probably learn from this, which will be for his good. But yeah, I think pretty disappointing season if you want to say. I think, or if you had those expectations, I think I don't know, but I think it was pretty disappointing from Xavier Bartlett. And then I'll talk about the Indian fast bowlers. I think Vijay Kumar Vishak को उन्होंने लिया. He was again, their additional fast bowler. I think fourth fast bowler that they wanted to play with. I think Bartlett, Arshdeep, Jansen, and fourth was supposed to be Vijay Kumar Vishak is what they started with, and just one spinner in Chahal. So I think ये पांच bowlers की उनकी team उनको करनी थी. And I think Vijay Kumar Vishak, I think toward the start of the campaign पहले ही match में 3 for 34, second match में 2 for 38, and एकदम से he made that impact. And after that there was again another dip. I think uh, from there, I think he kind of struggled. 9 matches, just 9 wickets at a economy of 10.65, and I think he kind of got exposed. I think he, if you've seen that game against, I think it was GT, जब वो wide of the off stump डाल रहा था, and I think this was last year. तब वो जिस तरीके से he was executing those balls and left-handed players के against Sharfin Rutherford बोलो तेवातिया बोलो, they were not being able to hit him because he was not bowling in their arc. He was really managing his length and line perfectly in such a way that it was tempting for the batter to go for the shot over mid wicket. But again, it is going away from the batter. It is not coming in their arc to pick it. And the line is also such that it is not coming onto the bat. It's going a little higher. And I think he was doing that pretty well. He was bowling wide of the stumps pretty well. But I think this season, because he started to pick up some more wickets, he started to experiment a little, bouncer डालने लगा, slower ball into the wicket, and I think all of that did not really work. And I think Vishak had a pretty average season. I think for a backup bowler, he would have been fine. But I think when they wanted to make him स्टार्टर जस्ट एक इम्पैक्ट सब की तरह आप अगर यूज़ कर रहे हो 2-3 ओवर डालने के लिए तो एक अलग बात है, बट अगर आप उसको एक 4 ओवर का बॉलर पकड़ रहे हो तो आई थिंक उतना रेडी मे बी वाज नॉट, एंड आई थिंक ही स्ट्रगल बिकॉज ऑफ दैट. एंड दैट विल ब्रिंग मी टू द लास्ट फास्ट बॉलर एंड दैट इज यश ठाकुर. उसको एक ही मैच मिला दिल्ली के अगेंस्ट 2 for 55, नथिंग टू से. आई थिंक ही गॉट अ फ्यू गेम्स लास्ट सीजन. आई डोंट नो व्हाई ओवर quite a few bowlers. I think he showed some promise, but again because of which they was he obviously picked this season as well. But एक ही मैच मिला उसको 2 for 55 he went. Not a good game for him. At least picked up a couple wickets, but yeah, went for a lot of runs against Delhi. And that will bring me to the two spinners, and I think I'll start with obviously Chahal because he was the one who played all the games. I think he ended up bowling in 12 innings. I think he ended up picking up 12 wickets. I think at an economy of 9.39, which was pretty higher if you would have wanted Chahal to probably bowl at least under 9. I think that would have been something you would have expected as the lone frontline spinner that you have. But I think uska thoda sa unlucky bhi tha. A lot of catches were dropped off his bowling. That especially that game against SRH where there were a lot of catches that were dropped. And I think उसकी वजह से एक शायद से थोड़ा सा problem उनका हुआ that they were not a good fielding side, and I think that Delhi game, sorry, Lucknow game in which Shashank Singh dropped a few catches. This game, with on his bowling, Chahal's bowling, there were quite a few catches dropped, and I think that did play a part. But I think overall bowling was not as good. I think उसके साथ एक partner को pair up किया होता तो शायद से Chahal might have bowled a little better. Another spin bowler that is. So maybe he could have bowled a little better. I think again he had a few decent games. Picked up 3 for 36 against Rajasthan. लास्ट गेम में अच्छी बॉलिंग की 2 for 25, एक स्टार्ट में अच्छी बॉलिंग की थी. तो देर वर 2-3 गुड गेम्स, but I think overall not very wicket taking, even though if he was economical he was making some impact, but otherwise he also had a few games where he was going for runs. So I think overall a pretty average season from Chahal. As someone who's experienced, who's been around for a long time, you might have expected slightly more from him, but I think it was fine, not anything exceptional. एंड आई थिंक दैट विल ब्रिंग मी टू द लास्ट प्लेयर एंड दैट इज हरप्रीत बरार. आई थिंक उसको 2 ही मैचेस मिले, मुझे लगता है शायद से और मिलने चाहिए थे. उन्होंने 4 सीमर्स के साथ जाने की स्ट्रेटेजी क्यों रखी मेरे को नहीं समझा. स्पेशली व्हेन दे हैड समवन लाइक शशांक एंड स्टॉइनिस इन दैट बैटिंग, जो आपको एक फोर्थ सीमर की तरह आप उन दोनों को भी यूज कर सकते थे एंड प्ले टू स्पिनर्स, बट इट रियली वर्क क्लियर विद व्हाट दे वांटेड. आई थिंक दे डिड नॉट वांट अ सेकंड स्पिनर. हरप्रीत को बीच में 1-2 मैचेस का चांस मिला एंड बोथ गेम्स ही डिड वेल. आई थिंक 4 overs 1 for 25 and then 4 overs 2 for 35. आई थिंक अच्छी बॉलिंग की उसने, बट चांसेस ही नहीं मिले. तो आई थिंक मे बी इफ ही वुड हैव बीन एबल टू प्ले अलोंग साइड चहल, आई थिंक चहल एक ऐसा बॉलर है जिसको अगर आप अटैक करते हो तो विकेट उसको बहुत मिलते हैं, बिकॉज ही डज वेल व्हेन ही इज गेटिंग अटैक. उसको बहुत छक्के मारने के बाद बहुत बार वो विकेट लेता है. तो आई थिंक दैट इज समथिंग ही डज, एंड आई थिंक समवन इफ देयर इज bowling from the other end who's bowling economically, चहल के अगेंस्ट लोग अटैक करने जाके उसको विकेट दे देते हैं. एंड दैट इज व्हाट हैज हैपेंड इन द पास्ट एज वेल विद चहल. एंड आई थिंक अगर हरप्रीत वो प्लेयर है जो उस साइड से अगर अच्छा कर पाता हो, यू कैन सी directly in that Rajasthan game where he played, none for 25 in his 4 overs, Harpreet Brad. Same game, Chahal picked up his best figures in the entire campaign, 3 for 36. And he never picked up 3 wickets in the entire campaign apart from that. तो आई थिंक ये जो चीज़ें होती है ना, कि अगर आप उसके साथ बॉलर एक ऐसा डाल देते हो, एक और एक स्पिनर जो ज़्यादा विकेट टेकिंग बॉलिंग नहीं करेगा, बट ही विल ट्राई टू मेक श्योर दैट ही इज बॉलिंग the batter in such a way that he's cramping him for room and not really allowing to open up and play his shots and get boundary. So I think that helps Chahal to bowl from the other end, give the batter some flight, some width, so that the batter will try to target him, and then he ends up picking up wickets with his whatever bowling that he does. तो आई थिंक वो एक चीज़ थी जो आई थिंक मिसिंग थी, मुझे लगता है हरप्रीत को खिलाना चाहिए था. And I think they did not. Just 2 matches he played, picked up a couple of wickets. Economy was great, 7.5. And yeah, that is what I feel. So I think that I've covered all the players, and I think with that I feel like कि पंजाब आई थिंक ऐसी टीम है जो सबके मन में एक थी जो क्वालिफाई करेगी. मैंने पहले ही बोला जैसे कि 4 टीम्स एक लोगों के मन में जो क्वालिफाई करते हैं उसमें से 3 तो प्रीटी मच एवरीबडी हैड गारंटीड, आरसीबी, पंजाब और मुंबई तो कर देंगे. और उसमें से एक ही नहीं किया, आरसीबी नहीं किया, बट पंजाब एंड मुंबई बोथ डिडंट क्वालिफाई. एंड आई थिंक पंजाब वाज समवन हु वाज कंसिडर्ड टाइटल फेवरेट्स एट halfway point because they were not losing a game. And at that point is where I started to feel कि इतना consistently अच्छा खेल रहे हैं, तो it is important that they have some problems as well, so that they know what they are having, areas where they need to work on. I think अगर आप हारते ही जाते हो तो फिर एक इतने जीतने के बाद when you start losing, it really becomes hard. I think if you have 2-3 मैच जीतने के बाद बीच में से एक हार गए, तो you know what you need to do in the next year. If you have a set combination that did really well for you, you probably back it a little more even if you're losing, and that costs you a little too much. And I think that is where I think they probably would have I think they struggled. And I think that is something that I feel. I think ये जो fielding का problem था, एक all-rounder अच्छा कोई नहीं था. I think Jansen was someone they wanted to be play as the all-rounder, even though he's not that much batting, but still he is a pretty good all-rounder. I think वो नहीं मिला उससे. अजमतुल्ला उमर जाई, another all-rounder, did not play much. Came towards the last 3 games. स्टॉइनिस से इतनी बॉलिंग नहीं करवाई. मेरे को नहीं पता अगर वैसे भी ऑलराउंडर होके भी जो थे उनको यूज तो इतना नहीं किया. शशांक की बॉलिंग जब यूज करनी थी तब उसने अच्छी बॉलिंग की, बट देन फील्डिंग इतनी खराब की कि उसको बॉलिंग को देने के लिए फील्ड पे रख ही नहीं पा रहे थे, क्योंकि वो ही वाज नॉट रियली डूइंग वेल विद द फील्ड एट ऑल. तो आई थिंक शेडगे को भी एक बॉलिंग ऑप्शन था, उसको भी बॉलिंग नहीं मिली. कूपर कॉनली अपेरेंटली हैड सेड नो टू बॉलिंग, or if he was not bowled strategically, I don't know, because he's also someone who bowls some spin, which could have been used, which is not. So I think, because of all of these things, I think all-rounder was one issue which they really need to figure out. If Azmatullah Omarzai is someone who they want to back, him, or otherwise they'll have to find someone to play that kind of a role, who is bowling 3-4 overs consistently, and also batting in the lower order or wherever he can. So I think that was something that was missing. Connolly did really well, but I think no one was really doing the Josh English kind of role. I think all their top four was really playing a particular way. I think apart from Priyansh जो एक बहुत aggressively खेल रहा था, I think प्रभसिमरन, कॉनली और श्रेयस अय्यर तीनों एक particular way में खेलते हैं. उनका strike rate is not extremely high, even though they play with a pretty good strike rate. They are someone who are known to build an inning more than take the everything into the attack. And I think that is where I think there was another problem. And I think lower order से बहुत under performances आए. I think top four पे heavily reliant थे, नीचे के batsmen ने इतने रन नहीं दिए. I think Stoinis had a couple of good games, Shedge later on, Shashank had I think one game, but I think इतना अच्छा lower order से batting नहीं मिली जितनी उनको चाहिए थी. Fast bowling में बहुत issues थे. I think nobody was really good. I think Arshdeep was okay, Jansen was bad, Bartlett was bad, Ferguson was bad, Vishak had his moments, but again not so good. Omar Zai came too late. तो आई थिंक इतनी फास्ट बॉलिंग जो एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ है वो नहीं हुई, और आई थिंक बॉलिंग की वजह से ही बहुत मैचेस हारे. आई थिंक दैट मुंबई चेज दैट दे कंसीडर्ड, मुंबई ने चेज कर दिया, तिलक वर्मा गॉट दोज रन. It was completely bad, I think, and that really hurt them a lot. And I think it was like two halves, and you could not understand how is that same team who did so well in the first half doing and playing this kind of cricket in the second half. And I think that really cost them. I think inconsistency bolo, and I think bowling was the biggest problem in this team. And I think they really need to work on that to make their campaign better next season. And because they have talented players, I think strategically a few calls were I think wrong, but I think overall they still have pretty good players. And I think they would want to work around the same group who took them to a final last season and was the team who was unbeaten in the first half of the tournament. So they would want more from this unit, and definitely would like to back a lot of these players going into the next season, just hoping that they will come good again next year. So I think this is what I feel about them. When you change क्यों किया मेरे को नहीं समझा. That is a very bad thing to do for your team. I think management is to be blamed. Whoever is in charge of taking these decisions is to be blamed, because you should not be doing these things. आप whatever reason के लिए contract sign करते हो, but you just can't. I mean, lot of people say that it is done to promote the game. ज़्यादा जगह पे जितना remote places where there's not much people watching, you want to promote it there and all that, but that is not what is helping your franchise winning. आई थिंक एक टीम जो इतना अच्छा कर रही थी, जो अपने होम ग्राउंड को अच्छा एक फोर्ट्रेस बना के रखी थी, वहां से आपने वो हटा के उनको कहीं पे और पे खेलने को भेज दिया. एंड आई थिंक दैट वाज नॉट गुड. आई थिंक इफ दे वुड हैव गॉटन दोस कपल ऑफ गेम्स देयर, maybe they could have qualified easily. And I mean, it's all again ifs and buts. Clearly if they would have had that, no result would have gone in their favor. वो मैच हो जाती, शायद से वो जीत ही जाते. They would have even without any of those matches, all that they lost, they still would have qualified. बट आई थिंक ये जो नौबत आई उनकी लास्ट तक जाके ये सब बोलने की कि नॉट नो रिजल्ट की वजह से हम हार गए. जब नो रिजल्ट आया था तब एवरीबॉडी वाज लाइक, पंजाब के फैंस थे, हम दे देते हैं, हम बहुत पंजाबी लोग बहुत बड़े दिल के होते हैं. श्रेयस अय्यर सिस्टर मेड दैट रील, कि दैट दे दिया एक पॉइंट ले लो, क्योंकि केकेआर वाज लूजिंग अ लॉट. So I think KKR almost pulled off a complete reverse and almost were in contention to qualify. They lost toward the end and were not able to do it, but they still, I think, turned around their campaign pretty well. And it would have been extremely poetic to see from that point where that no result was something that Punjab fans were saying कि छोड़ो दे दिया, गरीबों को एक पॉइंट बांट दिया जैसे. To that would have completely gone wrong if KKR would have qualified and Punjab would have been the team to go on. And yeah, I think that is what you if you thing look back onto the campaign, you'll see some things that clearly if would have been done better, they could have still qualified. But I think जो क्रिकेट खेला वो उसमें भी देयर वर क्वाइट अ फ्यू थिंग्स दैट दे नीड टू रियली अंडरस्टैंड, क्योंकि आजकल की बॉलिंग जो है उस तरीके की बॉलिंग नहीं कर रहे थे वो. और 5 ही बॉलर्स के साथ व्हाई आर यू स्टिकिंग, आई डोंट अंडरस्टैंड. चहल जैसे बॉलर को रख के एक मैच में आपने उसको बॉलिंग ही नहीं दी बिकॉज यू थॉट द पिच वाज नॉट मेड फॉर अ स्पिनर, फिर उसको पिक ही क्यों किया था. So I think Stoinis was your fifth bowler, not like you had 6 bowlers, 5 fast bowlers who are actual 5 fast bowlers, and you did not give Chahal. स्टॉइनिस को 4 ओवर दिए जबकि उसने पहले डाले ही नहीं थे 4 ओवर, तो उसको अचानक से एक मैच में 4 ओवर दे दिए. एंड चहल डिड नॉट bowl at all, and Stoinis was not doing well also. So maybe 1 over could have been given. So I think these kind of decisions, I think, were where they, I think, lacked. And I think overall these things will be in their minds to make sure that they don't repeat them. I think they need a solid top four that they have. They need to back it. They have some experienced bowlers that they need to back, like Chahal hai, Arshdeep hai, Jansen hai, whatever they need to back. But I think they need to find a finisher. They need to find a few all-rounders, spinner to partner with Chahal if Harpreet Brar is not what you're looking for, even though I think he's pretty good. So I think that is where they should be looking at. And I think they still have a good team that has done really well. I think अगर आप देखते हो पिछला सीजन और अभी का सीजन, 1.5 of the 2 seasons they've done really well and they've played good cricket. I think the second half of this season is where everybody is starting to start of question. So I think group में तो दम है वैसे. It's just that they really need to make sure that they play better and don't make the mistakes that they did. I think fielding has to improve and all that. I've spoken about all of these things, and I think that is what I feel about Punjab. uh, Definitely a second half of the season to forget for them, and they'll be hoping to bounce back next season. And that is it for Punjab, and I'll talk about the team that got knocked out in the eliminator, and that is the Sunrisers Hyderabad.